Have you ever looked at your belly and wondered, why won't this fat go away, no matter what I eat or how hard I try? Or even worse, you lose weight everywhere else, but the belly stays. The fasting glucose stays high. The insulin resistance stays stuck. If that sounds familiar, listen closely, because what I'm about to show you is one of the most powerful, science-backed ways to melt visceral fat, the fat around your organs, in as little as 30 days. And here's the best part. When you melt visceral fat, your fasting blood sugar improves, your insulin sensitivity increases, your liver actually restarts normal glucose control, your energy and clarity come back. Today, I'm giving you the exact metabolic playbook based on randomized trials, metabolic ward studies, and real-life reversals we've seen inside Mastering Diabetes. And if you want the recipe guide that supports everything I'm about to teach you, just comment guide below and we'll send it to you for free. Let's jump in. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Visceral fat is not regular fat. It's not the same muffin top fat under the skin. It's not the pinchable stuff from your waistline. Visceral fat sits deep in your abdomen, packed around your liver, pancreas, and intestines, and it behaves nothing like normal body fat. This fat is metabolically active, meaning it releases hormones, inflammatory molecules, and even glucose-raising chemicals 24 hours a day. Think of visceral fat like a toxic factory running in your abdomen. And here's the kicker. Visceral fat has more insulin blocking and stress hormone receptors than almost any fat in the body. That means it responds faster to cortisol, it worsens insulin resistance more aggressively, and it drives fasting glucose higher even while you sleep. That's why people with visceral fat wake up with high blood sugar even when their dinner was perfect. Now, let me show you the good news. Visceral fat is also the easiest fat to burn if you target it correctly. Today, I'm going to show you how. But first, you have to understand that your fasting glucose each morning isn't random. It's not just age. It's not just carbs. It's not because your body forgot how to regulate sugar overnight. It's because your liver is clogged with fat and your muscle cells can't respond to insulin. Think of your cells like sinks. Insulin is the key that opens the drain. Glucose is the water. But when you accumulate too much fat inside your liver and muscle cells, that drain gets jammed. And suddenly, glucose can't flow in, so it stays in your blood. This has been proven repeatedly in controlled feeding trials. One of the clearest examples comes from a randomized trial published in Diabetes Care. Participants were given the same calories, not more food, not more weight gain, just different types of fat. One group ate high saturated fat, butter, cheese, coconut oil. One group ate unsaturated fat. The saturated fat group developed massive increases in liver fat, worsened insulin resistance, increased glucose production overnight, while the unsaturated fat group barely changed. Their weight didn't change, their calories didn't change, but the liver fat exploded. That means saturated fat clogs the liver, worsens fasting glucose, creates morning highs. This is why your blood sugar is stubborn. This is why cutting carbs doesn't fix the root cause. And this is why the strategies I'm about to show you can transform your numbers fast. Ready? Let's jump into the 30-day visceral fat melting playbook. Method number 1, low-fat, plant-based, whole food eating, or what I call the liver unlock. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Lowering saturated fat is the fastest way to melt visceral fat and lower fasting glucose, period. This is exactly what clinical trials show. A 2022 randomized controlled trial in JAMA Network Open put people on a low-fat, plant-based diet. The results? Significant reduction in liver fat, improved insulin sensitivity, lower fasting glucose, higher fat oxidation, meaning burning fat 24/7. And here's the wild part. This happened even without calorie restriction. People could eat as much as they wanted, as long as it was low fat and whole food plant-based. That's why Mastering Diabetes members see such fast results. You're not starving, you're not eliminating carbs, you're simply removing the fat that clogs your liver. Here's what to eat if you want to melt visceral fat: greens, legumes, whole grains, potatoes and sweet potatoes, fruits, yes, fruit, non-starchy vegetables, herbs, spices, balsamic vinegar, zero oil, low saturated fat, high fiber. The combination is lethal to visceral fat. Here's a quick analogy. Think of your liver like the air filter in your car. When it's clean, air flows easily and the engine runs efficiently. But when the filter gets clogged with dust and gunk, which is like the saturated fat stored inside your liver, the engine starts overworking, burning more fuel, and performing poorly. Here's the key. You can't carb restrict your way out of a clogged filter. You have to remove the buildup. And the way you clean that filter is through low-fat, high-fiber foods that sweep fat out of the liver, and by giving the liver time to rest and repair, which is exactly why the next strategy works so well. Method number 2, time-restricted eating, also known as the insulin off switch. The second strategy that melts visceral fat quickly is fasting done correctly. Not starving yourself, not extreme fasting windows, just a simple 16-8 or 14-10 schedule. Here's why it works. When you're not eating, insulin goes down. And when insulin is low, your liver finally gets the signal to stop storing and start burning fat. This isn't just theory. In 2023, researchers ran a single-blind, randomized crossover trial in people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. One group followed a 16-8 time-restricted fasting schedule. Fast for 16 hours, eat all meals in an 8-hour window for 12 weeks, while the comparison group just received standard diet and lifestyle advice. The fasting group saw significantly bigger improvements. Less fat in the liver, measured by ultrasound-based liver fat scan, more weight loss, smaller waist circumference, and lower BMI. In plain English, simply tightening the eating window helped their livers clear out stored fat and shrink visceral fat around the waist, even without a big change in reported calorie intake. Here's why fasting works. Imagine insulin as the door lock on your fat cells. When insulin is high, the door is shut, no fat burning. When insulin is low, the door swings open and stored liver fat pours out to be burned, and visceral fat responds first. Here's how to do it safely. Stop eating at 7 or 8 p.m., delay breakfast to 10 or 11 a.m., drink water, herbal tea, or black coffee during the fasting window, eat high fiber, low fat meals when feeding opens. This reduces 24-hour glucose peaks and gives your liver long periods to detox from stored fat. This is why many people eat perfectly but still wake up with high glucose. Their liver is full. Fasting helps clear it. Method number 3, zone 2 cardio, what I call the visceral fat furnace. If you had to choose one exercise to melt visceral fat, it's zone 2 cardio. Light to moderate steady movement. You can breathe through your nose, you can talk in full sentences, but your heart rate is clearly elevated. Here's why zone 2 works and why you don't always need to do high intensity interval training. Zone 2 is the metabolic sweet spot. It's that easy to moderate effort where you can still talk in full sentences. At this pace, your body can burn a high proportion of fat for fuel. improve mitochondrial function, your cell's engines, help your liver mobilize and burn stored triglycerides over time. And this isn't just theory. In the resistance versus aerobic exercise in type 2 diabetes randomized controlled trial, 31 adults with type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease were assigned to 4 months of either aerobic training, steady, moderate intensity cardio, zone 2 style walking or cycling, or resistance training. Diet wasn't aggressively changed and all sessions were supervised 3 times per week. What happened after 4 months? Both groups cut liver fat by 25 to 33%, measured by MRI, saw hepatic steatosis disappear in about 1 in 4 participants, improved insulin sensitivity, measured by clamp, reduced total body fat and visceral fat, belly fat, lowered A1C. The big takeaway, you don't need brutal, high-intensity sessions to help your liver and your insulin sensitivity. Consistent, moderate-intensity training, the kind of effort most people would call zone 2, was enough to slash liver fat and improve metabolic health. Here's why this matters. You don't need to kill yourself in the gym. You just need consistent, low-intensity movement. How to do zone 2? 30 to 45 minutes, 4 to 5 times per week, brisk walking, incline walking, cycling, dancing, elliptical, swimming. If you can walk and breathe through your nose, you can melt liver fat. Method number 4, high fiber foods, what I call the fat flush mechanism. Fiber is one of the most powerful and underrated tools for reducing visceral fat and improving fatty liver. And this isn't theory. We have real clinical data. A 6-month diet intervention in people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease increased their fiber intake from about 19 grams per day to 29 grams per day from everyday foods, more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Here's what happened in that study. Participants experienced improved liver enzymes, AST, ALT, and GGT, all dropped significantly. Less liver fat. Ultrasound Hamaguchi score went from 2.87 to 1.4, meaning milder fatty liver. Better insulin resistance. HOMA-IR decreased and fasting insulin fell. Lower triglycerides. Blood triglycerides decreased. Massive drop in a gut leakiness marker. Serum zonulin fell by approximately 90%, 7.3 to 0.5. In other words, more fiber, healthier liver, better insulin sensitivity, less inflammation-linked gut leakiness. Here's why fiber works mechanistically. Fiber helps because it displaces saturated fat and ultra-processed foods. When you fill up on beans, fruits, veggies, and whole grains, you naturally eat less fatty, refined food that drives liver fat, feeds the gut microbiome. Gut bacteria ferment fiber into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate and propionate, which improve gut barrier integrity and reduce liver inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity. Higher fiber intake is consistently associated with better insulin sensitivity and lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, partly via short-chain fatty acids and reduced endotoxemia, blunts post-meal glucose and lowers calorie density, viscous soluble fibers slow glucose absorption and help you feel full on fewer calories, which supports weight loss and further reduces liver fat over time. Think of fiber like a traffic controller for your metabolism. It slows the cars down so glucose doesn't flood your bloodstream all at once. It directs nutrients to the gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, the signals that calm inflammation, and it keeps the highways clear, helping your liver move fat out instead of letting it build up. Most people aren't carb intolerant, they're fiber deficient. Method number 5, lowering saturated fat, or what I call the 24-hour turnaround. We've touched on this already, but it can't be overstated. Saturated fat has a uniquely powerful effect on liver fat and insulin resistance, even when calories stay the same and body weight doesn't change. One of the most rigorous studies on this was conducted in 2018, as mentioned earlier. In this randomized controlled overfeeding trial, adults consumed extra calories for just 3 weeks, but the extra calories came from different sources: saturated fat, unsaturated fat, or simple sugars. Here's what they found. Participants consuming saturated fat developed significantly higher liver fat, largest increase of all groups, increased insulin resistance, higher fasting insulin, higher circulating ceramides, toxic fat molecules that directly impair insulin signaling, greater fat accumulation in the abdomen and liver without major weight gain, because physiologically, saturated fat reduces insulin sensitivity for several hours after a meal, making it harder for glucose to enter your cells. Your blood sugar rises and stays elevated longer. The takeaway: you don't need zero fat, but keeping saturated fat low gives your liver and your insulin receptors room to breathe. And the good news? A whole food, plant-based diet makes this almost effortless. It naturally minimizes saturated fat while maximizing the foods that restore insulin sensitivity. Comment guide below this video, and we will send you recipes that reverse insulin resistance and keep your liver clean. So here's your exact blueprint for melting visceral fat and lowering fasting glucose. Daily, eat low-fat, high-fiber, whole food meals. Fast 14 to 16 hours. Stop at 7 p.m., eat at 10 to 11 a.m. Walk 10 minutes after meals. Drink water first thing in the morning. Eat greens before or with every meal. 4 to 5 days per week. Zone 2 cardio, 30 to 45 minutes. Every meal, avoid oils, avoid high saturated fat foods, choose carbs paired with fiber. Every week, track fasting glucose, notice patterns improving. If you follow this playbook, visceral fat will melt. Your fasting glucose will drop. Your energy will increase. Your insulin sensitivity will improve, often in days. This isn't hype. This is what the research shows. This is what we see inside Mastering Diabetes every single week. And if you want a free recipe guide built off this exact science, packed with low-fat, high-fiber meals that restore insulin sensitivity, just comment guide below and we'll send it to you. If this video helped you, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who's ready to improve their blood sugar. Until next time, keep those carbs high and that A1C low.